Munch Lam from Self-Driven. Hi, can you hear me? Right, thank you. So you are 30 minutes away from drinks, so I'm going to get down to this. My name is Mun Choong, call me Munch. I'm going to tell you a story about how I embarked on the journey to learn and gamification 6 years ago, pretty much. So the story started before December 2011, for that matter. And one personal story I could share with you was I had a team of 80 people in my company. We are a technology company. We deliver software solutions, and we hire software engineers, database administrators, network engineers, software architects, support engineers, you name it, all engineers. Right, and we actually grew from having 8 people in the team in 2010, and by the time we hit 2011, we have 80 people, 80. And we were still growing, and we were trying to recruit very aggressively, and pretty much every day somebody would come to the office and have interviews with us. So there was one day when I was taking the lift up to our office on the 8th floor, and there was a young guy next to me with his backpack and everything. And we stepped out on the same floor, on the 8th. And the moment he stepped out of the lift and he looked around, straight away he made a U-turn to go back to the lift. So I stopped him. I said, hey, dude, did you get lost? You know, what company are you coming, are you visiting? He said, oh, I'm coming to this company called Netium, you know. Anybody heard of Netium? No, it's affected because we spent 0 on marketing, right? So the guy said, yeah, I actually came to Netium for a job interview, but the moment I look at their office lobby, I don't feel like working here anymore. You know, so he didn't know I'm the CEO, so he said that to my face. I'm like, okay, thank you, see you. Right, so it's really tough to hire good people in the tech industry, because around that time, Google, Facebook, and all that started offices in our part of the world. You know, there were not enough talent in Silicon Valley, and everybody's going to Asia to try to get the best brains and all that. And so the problem statement for us is that how would a company like us, with no budget for marketing, no brand, no history, no stock options, and a shitty office, compete with Google? Right? We want the same guys as them. So at that moment, I really think really hard about this, because this is about business survival, right? So I told myself, we are going to be the employer of choice to these guys on our own terms, you know. We will design the best employee experience to engage, you know, our team. We will treat them like customers. We will be different from everybody, and we will make work fun with gamification. Okay, actually the word gamification didn't appear then. I was thinking more around, because I want to treat my employees like customers, maybe I should have an employee loyalty system, the same way companies have customer loyalty system, because they value their customers. That was my thought there and then. Right, so on December 2011, we launched our own loyalty system internally to 80-something employees. Essentially, the entire thing was done so-called manually, because the communication was done on Microsoft PowerPoint, and all the tracking of the points and leaderboards and badges was done on Microsoft Excel. That's all we have, you know. So I went on stage and I jumped up and down, and you know, these 80-something guys who are curious, skeptical, and puzzled look at me and like, what are you trying to do here? Right, but in the next 30 days, something happened. You know, somehow everybody got more motivated. So we have team-based competitions, we have individual recognition and all that. And I could see the difference in how people were engaged. So I went to interview every single team, and I asked them, why are you trying harder? You seem to be trying harder. You know? So half the team said to me, we're trying harder because you are now recognizing us as best teams. You know, we believe we are the best, and therefore we want to prove to you that we deserve to be in the top 3, right? And then the other half of the team said, we're trying harder because we don't want to be in the bottom 3. And somehow, that transformed the entire company. Right, so, and then one, slightly more than a year down the road, we've been doing it on Excel and all that, and things seems to be, you know, chugging along. And the employees came to us and say, dude, we're a technology company, why are we doing everything on Excel? You know? And I said, dude, that's because we don't have enough people to work on customer projects. Why do we spend time on a system for ourselves? And they say, dude, we're willing to do work extra hours just to have a system. I said, okay. Right, you know, talk about self-driven behavior, right? So that was how we created a web-based system for ourselves, and then I could see that the engagement continued to improve. You know, the team come back to me with ideas and say, hey, maybe we should try this. You know, maybe you should recognize us on this. And the conversation kept going on, and we kept putting stuff on what we call the gamification platform. Right. So, and you know I'm the business results guy, right? I'm the dollars and cents guy, right? So how did all that engagement translate to business results? Okay, because it's my company, thank God. I have all the data. Because we're a technology company, we track everything, you know. So we looked at the data in terms of productivity and so on, and here are our findings, right? From that period when we launched a gamification system, over 3 years, we have doubled our headcount. And when we look at internal measurements of productivity and quality, we got improvement of 250%, right? And then that, it might just be because we are measuring the wrong thing, who knows, right? But then we also see that customer satisfaction has improved, okay? So, then we look at something else. You know, we said, so what is the behavior of someone who's really engaged? And one of the things that we noticed when we compare ourselves with other companies is that our people really like to work, right? So in the country where we operate in, on average, people, you know, workers, employees take more than 9 days of time off because of sick days you call them, right? In our company, it's 2.5 times less, right? I mean, we didn't pay them more, by the way, right? So something is working, right? And when we look at employee advocacy as well, we realized that we created a gamified employee advocacy program, you know, and we're getting more and more of our employees who refer their friends to come and work for us, even though we are paying half the referral fee that the industry is paying, right? So all those things that I said to you actually translate to serious dollars and cents. Just because people have lower absenteeism from work and they refer their friends to work, it makes a difference of $500,000 US to us every year, right? And not to mention the higher level of productivity and the higher level of customer satisfaction, all that is driving the business. So as a company, we, since 2011, grew 13 times our revenue in 7 years. We didn't grow our headcount or cost by 13 times, but we grew revenue by 13 times. And again, I was saying, well, just because there's correlation doesn't mean that that's causation, right? So let me go and interview every single person who contributed to the growth, the people who learned the fastest, the people who worked the hardest, the guy who didn't take a single day of sick leave for 7 years, you know? And I asked them, the guy who joined us, and prior to that, he's been switching jobs every year, and he stayed with us for 6 years. I went to interview every single one of them. I said, why are you doing this? You change job every year. Why are you still with us after 6 years? And they whip out self-driven and say, this is meaningful to me. Right? So we believe gamification contributed to our success partially. It's not the whole story, but at least when I talk to the person directly, that is usually one of the factors. But how do we do successful gamification, right? I think the way we look at gamification is this. We take what we believe is something that is very motivating in games, which is the whole idea of autonomy. What is really autonomy? Autonomy also implies choice, right? When you play a game is usually more motivating because you are given that decision-making power on how you want to play the game and how you choose to be successful, right? That doesn't usually happen at work. But we design work that way, and then we make sure that we use gamification to get instant feedback to our people so that they could improve. They know where they are, and we do instant recognition with gamification. Okay, because of that, they feel like they're in control at work. They feel like they get to define how they're successful. There's a guy who stayed with us for 7 years and never missed a single day of work. I'm like, are you crazy? Don't you ever get sick? He's like, sometimes I do get sick, but I still come to work because I'm really proud of the fact that I have a streak of 7 years that you recognize me for not missing work. I was like, oh, that's a lot of additional productivity for me. I gave him a watch, a G-Shock watch every time he didn't miss work for a year. But the level of productivity he brought back as a result, and the fact that he's a role model for the rest of the company, it's way more than what I put in as a reward, right? So you can't say that, oh, rewards are bad, just buying somebody a prize is bad. But I believe we have to look at total motivation as a result, So the idea is that I think we got something going there. And we said, how do we crystallize all this, and bottle this lightning and try to share it with the world, the rest of the companies who are facing the same problem. And that was how Self-Driven was created. So we set up a team, we invested money, my own money, into this to say that we want to turn this into a product and we want to help other companies be as successful as we are. Right. How we do it? Game mechanics, good user experience, data analytics, and we always measure business impact. Right? As I said, I think the end goal is to say we want to make work more human. Work today is very often designed around what I call Industry 3.0 principles. Everybody has a fixed job description. There is a one-size-fits-all definition of success, and that's what work is about. But we believe if you make work more human and you deliver the experience with gamification, you transform your company. Right? So I'm not going to show you a lot of screenshots. These are things that Self-Driven cover because we believe these things help us in terms of engagement, in terms of learning, in terms of performance at the end of the day. We have points, badges, and levels. I believe if you apply PBLs with a very deep understanding of who your audience is, it will work. The question is, when you do it at a very superficial level, at a one-size-fits-all level, it will not work. Right? The screen at the middle is really a gamified version of a survey where we could throw out a question and people would answer it. And then once you answer it, you come to this screen where you play the game of fishing out bottles from the sea, which will show you someone else's answer. anonymously, and you can vote on whether you agree or disagree with somebody else's answer. So this gives us much richer insights into employee engagement levels, sentiments, ideas, and all that, because instead of somebody who created a survey analyzing and deciding which opinion matter more, now everybody is voting on everybody else's idea, right? The last screenshot on the right is really something we did as a mini game to gamify employee wellness. So we essentially say we read the number of steps that you take either on your step counter on your phone or on your health tracker, and then we put you on a leaderboard by teams, by location, and all that, and that hopefully transform the way you look at health on a day-to-day basis, you know, the level of daily activities that you take on a daily basis. A typical client engagement looks something like this, right? We are essentially a change management accelerator. We go in there and we understand the client, we understand the culture, or the culture that they're trying to transform to, and we try to use gamification to accelerate that change, right? And in the process, we make it fun, but that is always a byproduct of what we do. Okay, from a client perspective, we do a lot of work in Asia, and some of the clients we have in Asia, you might recognize them. PwC, for example, AIG, MetLife, Accenture, BNP Paribas. These are perhaps well-known names as well in this part of the world. In Europe, we have some customers. We are working with our partner Nexten from Hungary, so their name is up there. We can't tell you who our customers are in Europe, but if you talk to us afterwards, we'll tell you. Okay, not on video though. Right. So we're recognized for innovation. So we have received multiple industry awards from IBM, Alibaba in Asia. And if you are familiar with who Gartner is, Gartner mentioned us as one of the up-and-coming vendor in their hype cycle report for a new category of software called worker engagement platform. Right. So the summary of the story is that, you know, in 2011, we have 89 players on our gamification platform. You know, it was an experiment. But through very rapid learning and adaptation, and we have managed to build a platform that today is actually impacting the work and of more than 1,000 workers or employees out there. So if you look at the numbers here, if you add them up, we are going to hit over 100,000 people by next year. You know, in fact, the list is longer than that, but we ran out of space. So what did we learn from this, right? I think number one is that there's no one-size-fits-all answer to motivation. You know, people keep telling me, no, but research say that, you know, people should be motivated intrinsically. I will tell you, if you're trying to do enterprise motivation, where you're motivating a wide spectrum of the audience, from someone on minimum wage making 400 euros a month with 3 children to feed, to a PhD holder being paid 15,000 euros a month, they want different things when they go to work. You know, when you build a platform to motivate a diverse range of audience across culture, you can't say, you know, intrinsic motivation is good, extrinsic motivation is bad. From our experience, I think what we see is that with, you know, when you are able to bring out the intrinsic motivation, you know, with a little extrinsic motivation, you transform the company. Okay? Our experience shows that an investment of 1% of your payroll will get you the result you want. You know, if you as a boss go to your employees and say, you get 1% more salary next year, nobody will get out of bed. for 1% more money. But if you invest that 1% more into engaging them, into giving them timely recognition, the payback is way more than that. So what I'm showing here is really, we go deeper to understand employee motivation by doing psychometric tests. Like in this example, we profile a group of employees where they are essentially telling you, economy is the thing that, motivate them the most, and in today's terms, they feel that there's a huge gap between, how important economy is to them and how satisfied they are today. So we will work with our clients to say, oh, you got to do something about this. Maybe you have to deal with the hygiene factor of paying people fairly, comparable to your competitors. Then you can talk about extrinsic motivation. Right. This is my last slide. I just want to share this as a research that I found when a group of researchers go and talk to 1,000 employees and they ask, what causes you to do great work? What causes you to go the extra mile, to try harder? What they found was recognition is the #1 driver of that behavior, right? The thing that was very interesting to me personally was only 13% of people in the world, according to this research, are self-motivated. Okay, so as a show of hands, how many of you have seen or have children who will complete their homework and tidy up their bedrooms without you nagging them? Raise your hand. Okay, if there's a big enough crowd, it'll probably be 13%, right? So, and then the third highest driver was inspiration. So storytelling is important, but storytelling don't necessarily always mean the story has to be told via gamification. Okay, one of the insurance companies we work with in India increased sales by 10% just by sharing success stories of high-performing salespeople. Thank you very much for your time. And if you want to get in touch, I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Twitter, and you can also go to our website as well. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
Lam, thank you from Self Driven.